Hi folks, and welcome back to My World of Tanks replays with a mighty Jingles. You can see straight away from the garage view that here we are looking at the IS-8 Russian Tier 9 heavy tank. And it's a funny old tank, the IS-8, because it isn't really a heavy tank, and you'll see why when we come look at the stats. So without any further ado, here we go. IS-8 garage review. 1800 hit points. It's a good solid chunk of hit points. It's not the most of the Tier 9 heavies. That particular honour lies with the E-75, which has, I think, 1920 health. But it's comparable to the other Tier 9 heavies, the M103, the STI. Obviously, it's more than the AMX 5120 because, it's French, and being very, very easy to kill is the French thing. It is a very fast tank, though. It's quite light for a heavy tank. It only weighs 51.55 tons in my setup, and it does have a 750 horsepower engine, which means this thing can reach a top speed of 50 kilometers per hour, and it will reach that top speed of 50 kilometers per hour. The acceleration is also pretty good. Combined with the fact that it has a whole traverse of 30 degrees per second, which is pretty darn good for a heavy tank, this is probably the most mobile non-French heavy tank in the game. Yep, in fact, there's no probably about it. It is the most mobile non-French heavy tank in the game. Simple as that. It's an incredibly quick machine. That's probably why I like it so much. Now, the turret traverse isn't particularly good, 26 degrees per second. But it ain't particularly bad either, so that's more than acceptable. And combined with the fact that it can whip the hull around at 30 degrees per second means that you can get that gun pointing at what needs killing pretty quickly, despite the average turret traverse. The view range of 400 meters is about what we'd expect of a Tier 9 machine, and the 730 meter signal range is also very good. But we didn't come here to find out how far away you can tune into the Howard Stern radio show. What's the armour like? Yeah, this is where the IS-8 runs into problems. It's almost French. It's so poorly armoured. Looking at the basic numbers, the armour protection at the front is 120 millimeters thick. The sides is 80, and the rear is only 60. The turret, 201 at the front, which is pretty good. 129 at the sides, which is pretty bad, and 50 at the rear, which is absolutely terrible. So yeah, it is not a very well armoured tank. Now, I could go on and on about how, well, it's not about the thickness of the armour, it's about the angle and the sloping, and it is pretty well sloped. But the armour just isn't thick enough. You can put any amount of slope on it, and it just isn't thick enough to give Tier 10 and Tier 9 tank guns much of a problem. And the sloping isn't that good. I mean, look at the lower glacis. If we zoom in a bit, you can see the angle of the lower glacis there, and the size of the lower glacis in particular. So the size of the lower glacis and the angle of the lower glacis. Now we'll look at the IS-3, which is a tier lower at tier 8, and look at the difference. Smaller target, much more steeply angled, and that's bad news for the IS-8 because it's got a much bigger frontal weak spot, and it's much easier to penetrate than the tank a tier lower. Now the upper glacis, it does share that pike nose feature, which again means, and this is quite a significant problem here, because the optimum angle to be getting the maximum armor protection is straight on. Because obviously, as with the IS-3 and other Russian tanks with the pike nose, if you turn to the side, then suddenly you're reducing the effective thickness of this side of the pike nose. If you turn that way, you reduce the effective thickness of this side of the pike nose. And to maintain the overall effective thickness, you need to be pointing straight at the enemy tank. But all they do then is they put a shot right through your lower glacis, and you get penetrated anyway. That's just the way it is with this thing. It is very easy to penetrate. All the Tier 9 tanks have no problem getting through the front of the IS-8. All the Tier 10 tanks have no problem getting through the front of the IS-8. And if they can get a shot at your flat lower glacis, Tier 8 tanks have very little problems getting through the front of the IS-8. It also has weak spots. There's a weak spot here, there's a weak spot there, and this driver's periscope is also a weak spot. However, take this one with a bit of a pinch of salt, because strangely enough, if you are aiming at this driver's periscope or driver's viewport here, and you miss by even an inch, you're going to hit this triangular area of armour at the top of the upper glacis, and it will bounce if you miss that and hit this. For some reason, this bit is incredibly well armoured, and there is hardly a gun in the game that can get through it. So if you are aiming for this bit, be careful. Make sure you can hit it, or it's going to hit here and it's going to bounce off. But to be completely honest, why bother? Just aim for the lower glacis. If you can't hit the lower glacis because he's partially hull down, aim just about anywhere else and you're still going to get through. Particularly these side collars here. The turret, it's pretty much the same story with the turrets. Now, it does have a good gun mantle, and the turret is very, very well sloped and rounded and just, bouncy. And if you've got a choice of aiming at the front, the turret, the front, the hull, take the front of the hull every time. However, the front of the turret does also have weak spots. There's one here, there's one there. This hatch with the little periscopes all around it up here is a weak spot. This little periscope here is a weak spot. It's a kind of a small target, but if you can hit this hatch here, that's also a weak spot. But why bother aiming for the weak spots? Shoot him in the front of the hull. It will go through. From the side of the turret, pretty much anywhere, pretty much any, it's only 129mm thick. However, look at the slope there on the front of the side of the turret. If the side of the turret is all you have to shoot at, shoot here, try to avoid shooting here because there's a good chance that will just bounce off because of the sloping. And from the rear, well, shoot them anywhere you like, it is going to go through. A Marder 2 could get through the rear of the turret of an IS-8. Now, it's a slightly different story from the side, because the IS-8 does have some spaced armour at the side. Now, the armour at the side is split into pretty much 3 zones. You've got this strip here at the upper side hull, and that is only 80mm thick, so anybody can shoot through that. But this strip here, going down to the top of the skirt, that is all spaced armour, and that has a good chance of eating any shells fired at it, so just be aware of that when you're shooting at an IS-8 from the side. Now, it's not all bad news at the side of the IS-8. The lower side hull, which is usually a massive shoot-me zone on any Russian heavy tank, is actually very, very small. The tank itself has massive ground clearance. That is actually the bottom of the tank there, and all the way down to here is just space and tracks. If you look at the IS-4, look at that, much, much, much more tank underneath the side skirt there to actually shoot at. And it's the same on the IS-3. There's loads of tank under there to shoot at. The IS-8, there isn't actually much tank underneath. It's actually quite high up off the ground. So that's kind of good news from the side. You've got this bit here that can be reliably penetrated. This bit here in the middle is all spaced armour, and this bit underneath the spaced armour, there isn't really much tank there to shoot at. So you're going to find that if you're shooting at the side of an IS-8, the tracks are going to eat a lot of shots. Or it's going to seem that way because you might go through the tracks, but you're just going to miss the hull because there's hardly any hull under there to shoot at. And then you hit him here, it might get eaten by the spaced armour. This bit along this strip along the top is just about the only spot where you can reliably penetrate the IS-8 from the side. From the rear, shoot him anywhere you like, and it's going to go through. It's 60mm thick. Forget it. In fact, from the rear, aim for the back of the turret. That's only 50mm thick. Like I said, a Marder 2 Tier 3 tank destroyer can kill one of these things from behind. So it's a very mobile tank. It's very poorly armoured. Does it at least have a good gun? Well, yes, it does. It's got the same gun as the IS-4, the 122mm M62T2. It's a 4.88 rounds per minute gun, so yeah, it's a big old Tier 10 heavy tank gun, slow rate of fire. It has 268mm of penetration. That's really good news. It does 440 average damage with each shot, which isn't too bad at all, and it has 0.38 accuracy. So this is good. This is really the first Russian heavy tank gun that you're going to get that has reasonably good accuracy. So this thing is still good out to medium and long ranges. You can still get kills with this. You don't have to be at close range to guarantee hits like you do with most of the other Russian tank guns. I mean, even the BL-9 gun on the IS-3, which is really what makes that tank, in combination with its armour, is pretty inaccurate. The BL-9, I believe, is 0.4 accuracy. Yeah, 0.4 accuracy. And that's why you have to use the IS-3 as a brawler. Because it's got good armour, and because the gun has a horrible aiming time, really inaccurate, and needs to be used up close and personal, and it's a lousy sniping weapon. Well, when you get to the IS-8, you've pretty much got to use the BL-9 to grind out the 59,300 experience you need for this tier 10 M62T2. But once you get that gun, it changes the way you play this tank. You can use it as a sniper if you have to. But I find the best way to use the IS-8, it can brawl if it has to, but it can't brawl for very long because it can't take a beating. The IS-8, the IS-3 at tier 8 is a much better brawling tank than the IS-8 is at tier 10, and that's why I say, sorry, not tier 10, at tier 9, and that's why I say the IS-8 is really more of a big medium tank than a heavy tank. I mean, if you're in a tier 9 game, you certainly can and should play it like a heavy tank because you're top tier in a tier 9 game and you are in a heavy tank. In a tier 9 game, you really can't go wrong playing this thing as a medium. And the medium tanks will definitely be grateful of the support. And you can do well using this to support your tier 10 heavies. Letting them take the hits and then popping around their sides, taking your shot, backing off into cover, and this thing will do very well in that sort of environment. Or you can use the speed to rush ahead, and this is something that this tank is really good at. And if you look at my other IS-8 video, you'll see that's exactly what I do on certain maps, and you really have to judge this on a map by map basis, and have a look at the enemy team and figure out whether or not you can get away with it. But on a lot of maps, this thing is very good at rushing forward to strategic points on the map and holding that point until reinforcements arrive, because you do have this monstrous gun and you are fast enough to get there, and usually the only things that are going to get there ahead of you are enemy mediums and enemy light tanks, and you don't really have that much to fear from medium and light tanks as long as you can keep moving or stay in cover and just show your turret and your gun to them. But it all depends on the situation. So those are the sort of tactics that you should really be trying to use in the IS-8. But enough talk, let's have a replay. I've got a good one lined up for you. Here we are on Westfield in a tier 9 game, and it actually just occurred to me I completely forgot to go over crew skills and equipment fit. So, it's a heavy tank. The gun has a slow reload and it has pretty bad aiming time, 2.9 seconds, so gun lane drive and large caliber tank gun rammer are, I mean, they're expensive, but the tank itself costs millions, so it's worth an investment. And any machine that has slow aiming time and a slow reload, I always like to put improved ventilations on, so that's my recommendation for this thing. Gun rammer, gun lane drive, improved ventilation. Crew skills, I've gone with repairs. I've gone with repairs on absolutely everybody, and it's never a bad idea in a heavy tank. And particularly I think in this heavy tank, because it is so easy to penetrate, and because your sides, the tracks do tend to absorb a lot of damage from the sides, and you really can't afford to be sitting in one spot getting pounded in the sides in this machine. I genuinely believe get repairs to 100% on as many crewmen as you can, and then think about the skills. So here we are, Westfield. It's a tier 9 game, tier 9 heavy tank. Should be able to do quite well here. Because we're able to get here so far ahead of everybody else, we almost get ourselves a scout medal. A big hit in that ISU-152, and believe it or not, that was a bounce. Where did that one hit? There you go, right under the gun. Bounced clean off the gun mantle. And I don't know what that was that fired at us, but I don't think it was the ISU-152. He does have the BL-10 gun, by the way. That might be the Yak Tiger 88. Okay, so we back off, we wait to disappear off the enemy radar. And looks like it didn't quite wait long enough. Don't know what that was, but it was only 242 damage. Where did that one go through? Yep, there you go. Lower glacis. Such a massive, inviting target on this thing. And that was the ISU. It didn't wait long enough to disappear off their radar before it popped out. And to be honest, that Jagdtiger 88 is so close that they all know where I am now anyway. But that was a big hit. Nearly 800 damage. Well, I've used the repair kit to repair my turret ring. And now... Sorry, didn't actually mean to pause it there. Here we go. I'll take that shot any day of the week. And unbelievably, I just do not understand why that shot bounced. That was almost a flat angle right at the lower plate of a 4502P and it just bounced off. What can I say? Shit happens. But I've taken another hit, nearly 400 damage, and now I'm not feeling very clever. I only have 21% of my health left. And another hit. Luckily, Trax ate it. But that Jagdtiger isn't feeling too clever himself at this stage. And I reload. 2 kills. 4502P's taken some serious damage while I was dealing with his friends. He's down at 1%. Now I'll pop out here, and I'm just not fast enough to get him. And I bounce a shot there from, I think, the KV3. Let's see if we can see where that one went. Nah, too many bushes in the way. Not important anyway. Oh, there we go. See the red star on the turret? Yep, very, very bouncy turret from the front. And there's a proper Jagdtiger over there. Ah, bounce. Shot actually went slightly to the right of the aim point, so it probably hit his angled upper casement. And now he's disappeared. I still can't get that 4502P. Can I? No, he's good in solid cover, but oh, hello, KV3. Ah, there he is. And there's 3 kills. Now, if you have a look at the map here, it's not looking too clever on this top corner. Oh, this Jagdtiger is now coming around behind them, so that seems to be under control. I'm just pinging the map so that this tank destroyer here is aware, and could have had the 4502, but there was a piece of scenery in front of him, and he's coming around trying to get me. And he does get a hit, but I kill him. Now I'm down to 8% health. Oh, and our Object 704's managed to get a team kill. Fantastic. Now I know that there is a Jagdtiger over on the other end of that field. But it looks like between them, the guys have sorted out the northwestern corner, and I'm pinging them out there to let these guys know that's where the Jagdtiger is. Because with 131 health, I have absolutely zero interest in going out there to find him. But I do have good soft cover here. Unfortunately, so does that Jagdtiger. So I'm popping out here using this friendly wreck and these bushes as cover from the Jagdtiger. I ain't going past the bushes, I don't want to know I'm here, I want to be able to shoot him. And Object 704 is being very brave, there he goes, the Jagdtiger misses. Okay. You can see his gun barrel. Looks like he's actually pointing his gun at me, so back off. Keep the wreck of that friendly tank between me and him, he can easily one-shot kill me. And he's trying to back off. Gotcha. That one actually looked like it went clean through his upper glacis, but the angle was pretty flat, and with the 268mm penetration gun you can actually get through the upper casement head on of a Jagdtiger. So there's 5 kills, now our base is being captured. But our Yak Tiger knows what he's doing. He's got 4 kills as well. Even the Tiger 2's managed to get a kill, which is pretty good. Tier 8 tank and a Tier 9 game. Oh, there we go, he's killing their artillery. Oh no, that was the Yak Tiger, he's at the other end of the map. So, they have a Pershing and an E50. The E50's on 1%. The Pershing is... Is he the, well, bigger threat? I don't know. And here we go. Damn it, we just track him. But he's not pointing his gun at me. Am I going to get another shot? Yep, I am. And I back off. And I think, yeah, I'm safe here.
Vehicle destroyed.
Guess what? I'm not. Ah, damn. And that cost me Top Gun and potentially a Bolter's Medal, because I could easily have killed both of them. But, you know, your luck has to run out sooner or later. Well, I say luck. That was stupid of me. I mean, if I could hit that Pershing, then the Pershing could have hit me, and I shouldn't have put myself in the position where I'm reloading, knowing that there are 2 enemy tanks who can both hit me. So that was completely my fault. But it was still a good game. As you can see, it's 1500 experience and 50,000 credits. That's doubled, obviously. First one of the day, 3066. And we got a sniper medal out of it, which just goes to show, you know, that M62T2 gun is very, very, well, it's not very accurate, but it's more accurate than you're used to firing Russian guns. And because we were so quick and we managed to get up to this forward position in the town so early, we actually did spot quite a few of the enemy team. Although I believe, let me see, we spotted and we killed him, we spotted and we killed him. Yeah, pretty much. In fact, everybody that we spotted we ended up killing. So no bonus XP from enemy tanks blasting those. Although, to be fair, that 4502P, we only really got the killing blow on him. So yeah, bonus XP for everybody on the other team, on our team, sorry, reducing him to 1%. Because we spotted him. So it's all good stuff. So that was, look at that, 8 hits received. That's not too bad, actually. That's about as well as, well, it's probably even better than you can expect to do in an IS-8. I mean, 5 of the hits that we took penetrated and damaged, but we did bounce 3 shots, and they were all from the front. So, and as you saw in the replay, pretty much everything that was aimed at and hit our turret bounced off. Everything that was aimed at the hull didn't have any problems penetrating, and sadly that's the IS-8 for you. That's just what you have to get used to. So that was the IS-8 Russian Tier 9 heavy tank. I do like it, even though it's not really a heavy tank. It's more of a big fat medium with a massive gun, and I don't have a problem with that. I like it. I think it's a good machine. I know a lot of people don't like it because they expect a heavy tank to have more armour, but hey, try playing the French someday. You play the French heavies and you suddenly get a big appreciation for this thing. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the replay. Plenty more where that one came from. Take care on the battlefield, and I'll catch you next time.